So, yan. So, nakita sa screen. So, wait lang ha. Nawala ako. Okay. So, again, good morning, everyone. So, hopefully, the last week na bakasyon or worth the bakasyon. And hopefully, tapos na ang lahat ng second quarter activities natin from all 8 subject area. So for today, we are going to have the introduction to our lessons for third quarter. Okay, so hapit na kita mahuman class, dalawang utong na lang, kumbaga, because it's our second to the last quarter before we will be graduating from grade 9. So today is the first online meeting, Feb 7, 2022, in third quarter. Okay, now as you can see, as you can observe on our screen, so I will call, or you can raise your hand if you want to answer. You can raise your hand if you want to say something. Now, what are your observations with the pictures and animations on our screen? Check it out. What are your observations? What can you see on our screens? If you want to answer, just raise your hand. Sige daw. May nakikita ba kayo sa screen? Kung meron, then you can share to the other class. Yes, Monterde, you are raising your hand. Kindly open your camera and say something about your observations.
Ano po, ma'am? Lightning po. Ano?
Hinay
I see
mo.
lightning.
Sige, hinay mong audio ba?
I see lightning po.
You see lightning? Nasaan yung...
Opo.
Okay, eto. Nasaan dyan? So, eto, first, second, third, or fourth?
Second po, ma'am.
Eto siya, the stars. Tama ba?
Opo, ma'am.
Okay, sige. So, medyo
Madungog
mahina
ko po,
yung...
ma'am.
Okay, sige, mahina yung audio ni Jassel. But according to Jassel, one of her observations in our screen is more on lights. Okay, we have lightning or lightings or whatever. Okay, so at least may mga lights. Who else? Okay, you can lower your hand na, Jassel. Anyone? Any other observation aside from Jassel's observation na more on lights, yung ating mga animated pictures on screen? What are the other observations? Sige, you can raise your hand if you want to say something and take note. This is a graded recitation, of course, and participation. Sige daw, just tell me what are your observation? Ano nakikita ninyo dun sa screen? Kung meron na. Kasi marami, 4 pictures yan. Sige. Who else? Who would like to share? What are the observations? Yes, Duklan.
Ano po, ma'am? Temperature po.
Temperature, okay. Saan yung temperature dito ba? Anong
Sa
drawing?
kuan po, ma'am. Sa ika-4. Kaning murag
Okay, sa
earth, ma'am.
ika-4. Itong may sunlight na picture. Okay, yun. Parang may thermometer siya. So, na-observe ni Duklan na some kind of temperature, may hot, may cold. Okay, very good. Now, next one, we have paglumutan is raising her hand. Sige. So, Duklan, you can lower na. Yes, Elise? What are your observations?
Volcanic eruption po, ma'am.
Okay, volcanic eruption. Ito sa first one. Okay, very good. Okay, so you can now lower your hand. So thank you for the participations, girls. So if you can see here, the first pictures is more on volcanic eruption. Okay, klarong-klaro sa picture, right? The second is more on shining stars. Okay, shining stars, more on lights, Russian Christmas lights, right? And then the third one, we have here, if you can see here, these are moving connected stars, whatever. These are constellations. Okay, this is on the outer space, galaxy, and everything. And the fourth picture, eto, meron siyang thermometer. It's more on temperature of our Earth. Okay, if you can see yung nasa circle, it's our Earth planet. Pero meron siyang parang design dito na this picture will look like a sun. And since meron siyang thermometer, and thermometer ginagamit lang natin usually, for example, on our body temperature, is to check whether our body has a normal temperature, mainit ba or malamig. Okay, so this is more on temperature. Okay, very good. Um, since you observe those pictures, now let's proceed to the next slide. Okay, now, before the final session, since I introduced you already to some of the pictures related to our topic for third quarter, so of course, we will not forget that we have to start our session with a prayer. Okay, so let's start. May I request everybody to please, you have to sit comfortably wherever you are right now. And you have to be mindful and you have to focus yourself to God and let us pray. In the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Lord Jesus, thank you for another week of the third quarter. Thank you for another day of having these online sessions with my students and for my students as well, with their classmates. Please, Jesus, send forth your Holy Spirit to be with us, and may you give us peace of mind to understand all the lessons that we are going to undertake for our third quarter Science 9. May this activity and this first online meeting be a successful one. This we ask in your name. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, once again, be blessed. For today is another day that the Lord has made for us. Okay, so hopefully, nasa peaceful mind tayo ngayon. For you to be able to be ready with our 2 weeks of classes. Okay, now let's continue with our next slide. So for the attendance, okay, so there are 18 in attendance. So we have Prado, Binagalyo, Colon, Paglumutan, Seguros, Albiliar, Tumabang, Bisorio, Cadorna, Rachel May lang yata ang nakalagay dito. Magbutong, Duklan, Antonio, Monterde, Mendez, Bernaldez, Pitalpurin, Christopher Caligonan, and Quinones. Okay, so again, thank you for participating and rest assured that your attendance is counted and additional points to your grades. Okay, now let's continue to our next slide. Okay, documentation. Kung meron mang nadagdag kanina na wala kanina during the picture taking, sige, okay lang. We will be having our picture taking before the end of the session later. Now, let's continue with our next slide. Okay, now, since last week, so I already updated you and informed you of our schedule, and that this is the very important thing that you need to do as an online class students. You have to be reminded all the time. You have to manage your time. So since tapos na ang mid-year break natin, tapos na ang kain tulog routine for a week. So for the first period of third quarter, so we have today, Feb 7 until Feb 19, 2022. So you have 2 weeks for our Science 9 and as well as your MAPE 9. Now remember, ang MAPE ninyo may Zoom class kayo later at 2 p.m. So do not be absent also. So for the second period, third and fourth, so here are the schedule. Okay, so from Feb 7 to April 2, that would be for the third quarter. So if you can analyze Feb to March, March to April, 3 months. So sa 3 months, dapat mahuman na good mo. So you have to again manage your time. Okay, so let's proceed to the next slide. Okay, now this is the main point of our lesson or meeting for today is we will be having our quarter 3 modules and I will be reminding you of the deadlines. Okay. Now, since there are pictures kanina sa first screen natin and those pictures are related to our third quarter lessons. And our third quarter lessons is, I think, the easiest so far for me based on my observation. The easiest subject for Science 9, it's because our third quarter is more on Earth and space. Okay, so quarter 3 modules has 3 modules only. So unlike with the chemistry, di ba masyadong mataas yun, mahaba. But for the third quarter, we only have 3 modules. Ganun lang siya ka-short. So hopefully before mag-start ang second cycle ninyo, tapos na lahat ang quarter 3. Okay, so first one is volcanoes. So if you notice on our animation screen, there are pictures of volcanic eruptions. Because module 1, we will be classifying volcanoes. We are going to identify what are those volcanoes found in the Philippines na active. Okay, now before we proceed to the next slide, I would like to ask you, kindly name at least one volcano that you know in our country or in the Philippines. Okay, if you want to answer, just raise your hand. Ano yung mga volcanoes na alam niyo sa Philippines? Sige. I will wait for those students who can raise your hand. Yes, Monterde, again. Ito first honor talaga itong batang ko sa pag-raise. Sige, Monterde. Kindly give me one example of volcano found in the Philippines.
Mayan Volcano po.
Mayon Volcano. Very good. Okay. Next, we have the plan.
Taal Volcano po, ma'am.
Taal Volcano. Yes, Taal Volcano is recent active. Mga few months ago, meron tayong balita tungkol sa Taal. Okay. How about, kung nawala si Antonio? Yes, Antonio, you are raising your hand kanina. Venice, what is your answer? Aside from Taal Volcano and Mayon Volcano, may pa bang ibang volcano found in the Philippines?
Ano po? Pinatubo.
Very good. Mount Pinatubo. Okay, tatlo na. Yes, Prado. What else? Yes, Alexa. Naka-mute ka. Alex, you are raising your hand. Okay, so we have Taal Volcano, we have Mayon, we have Mount Pinatubo. What else? Wala na ba? Tatlo lang ba yung volcanoes natin in the Philippines?
Mount Apo,
Yes,
ma'am.
Cadorna. Cadorna is raising
Mount Hibok-Hibok po, ma'am.
Mount Hibok-Hibok. Ayun, Mount Hibok-Hibok, okay? And we are going to study if Hibok-Hibok is an active or inactive. What else? How about in Mindanao? Ang lalayo ng mga examples ninyo. How about in Mindanao? Yes, Seguros.
Mount Apo, ma'am.
Very good. Yun, Mount Apo. And let's identify also, let's classify, active volcano ba si Mount Apo o hindi? Okay, but we can discover that in our lesson for the third quarter. What are those volcanoes in the Philippines na active and inactive? And meron ba mga danger zone sa Mindanao, especially sa Mindanao, na if ever na mag-erupt yung isang volcano near our city or near our region, what will happen to us? Okay, just like for example, sa Taal, diba, in Tagaytay. So, nagka-cloud formation ng ashes, merong mga destruction of houses, habitats. So, what will happen if doon sa Atua sa Mindanao, merong active volcanoes? So, again, in our module 1, we are going to discover more about volcanoes. Okay, now let's proceed to our second module. Our second module is kanina, kung may napansin kanina na, ma'am, temperature, kasi may planet, may sun, may hot and cold. It is because our lesson for module 2, it's all about climate or weather and climate. Okay, so if you can see on the screen, there are different types of weather condition. So merong sunny na ulan, merong nagsusnow, pero sad to say, we cannot experience snow in our country, Philippines, because we are near the equator and that's where the sun rays strikes most. So hindi tayo pwede maka-experience ng talagang snow, gaya ng nasa Alaska, yung nasa US, yun yung mga ano nila. But for the Philippines, we only have weather conditions, sunny, rainy, so yun. So for our quarter 3, we will be dealing with weather and climate and its factors affecting weather and climate. Now, can you look at outside your window? What do you think is the weather today? Pareho man siguro ta taga-tagom no, so pareho tag-sky. So, anybody who would like to share, what is the weather today? Can you look at outside? Yes, Buklan?
Ano siya, ma'am? Cloudy nga na mo init siya, kalit, ma'am. Lahi siya weather, ma'am, ba mo init, mo cloud na po. Balinay mo dagom, tas mo init.
Okay, very good observation. Minsan mo init and makalit yung dagong. Okay, so okay, very good observation. How about Mendez? Yes, Mendez. How's your sky there in your area? How's the weather? What is your weather condition, Mendez?
Cloudy siya, ma'am, nga murag padungay mo ulan.
Yun, cloudy, nag-gloomy, na makaunahuna tag ay kapon na mag-online class, magbukot na lang po. O sige, hopefully wala magbukot ya karon kay makatulog ta. But anyway, those weather conditions that you've answered are all correct. Like for example, ma'am, mukalit ra siya init, mukalit og dag-o, ma'am, kanang cloudy and then gloomy. Because if you can see, it changes any time of the day. Okay, now, so we are going to discuss for module 2, the difference between weather and climate. Why there are weather conditions na karon na oras kay ulan, human sa pikas na part sa tagom kay nag-init. Okay, so those are questions that we need to discover for our module 2. Now, our last module or topic for third quarter is this one. I think this is one of the interesting topics for grade 9. So if you can see, module 3 is more on stars and constellations. So stars, basically not those stars na kanang mga nasa K-pop, ano whatever, not those stars na mga artista. Okay, so I know nag-getting yung point. So it's more on the celestial bodies. It's more on makikita natin up in the night sky. And constellations. So I know since grade 9 na kayo, siguro yung part ng mga elementary days ninyo or mga childhood days, yung bata pa kayo, you like to gaze at the stars at night. And then, I don't know if who among you here yung mahilig mag-horoscope. Ma'am, ana sila ma'am kay. Sa akong horoscope today daw ma'am kay. Dapat magsuot ko kung pula. Kay lucky color is red. Charot. So that's based on your horoscope, for example. So we are going to discuss what are stars, what are the characteristics of stars, and why do stars twinkle at night. And meron din mga stars na makikita ninyo na, ma'am, na-adyo stars na color red. Ma'am, na stars na color white. Ma'am, na stars na color blue. Nalagi yellow. Why there are different colors of stars? And for the zodiac signs, ma'am, why is it na, for example, ako, I was born August 5. So, yung August, na-fall siya into Leo. Leo na zodiac sign. So, in our module 3, it will be discussed why there are different constellations every month. So, hindi po pwede na si Leo na constellation or horoscope, maadto siya dito sa January. Okay? It is because, example, si Leo is makikita lang siya na constellation sa night sky during August. That's why, kung August ka, Leo imong zodiac sign. Okay? And we are going to discover also the difference between astrology and astronomy. Okay? Like for example, ma'am, meron na may horoscope, tinuod kaya na. So we will find out. And why are there constellations na magporma og mga lion sa sky? Na pagtanaw nato, hindi siya porma lion. Why is it? So you have to discover that as you go with the module. Okay, so there are tutorials and videos provided. Okay, so next slide, we are going now to proceed to our LMS screen and be ready for question and answer portion because this time we will be answering together the quizzes for our module 1. Para at least pag start niyo niya sa inyong LMS, perfect score naman. So you have to prepare your notebook and pen as we proceed to our LMS screen. Okay, so let's go. Let me share you now my screen. And this is our LMS. Okay. Let me share you now.
Wala na ganda dahil.
Okay.
Wala na sa agwan na kami. Ay, darao! Sa diri.
Okay. So, I'm sorry for the noise. There are actually okay. So, this is now your screen for the third quarter LMS. Okay, nakita ba ang sharing screen? So, as you open it, take note, meron dito nakalagay. The activity should be marked complete. So, katong mga wala naka-answer sa summative test for quarter 2, you cannot access our third quarter. Okay? So, para maka-open sa third quarter, make sure that your summative test is done. So, this is your third quarter. Meron siyang overview for our Earth and space. And again, meron mga introduction about module 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so again, you are requested to view. Pag naaga ni view dara class, i-view din ninyo para makaproceed mo sa next part. Okay, so LMS library. So we provided you a copy of the modules. Kaning mga modules, you can download this anytime. And then napo diri ang mga some of the answers, some of your reference para ma-answeran ninyo ang inyong LMS. Okay? For example, kani group study. Pag i-click ninyo ni, naka-PDF siya. So, it will give you a guide on how to open na to ha. Just explore LMS kay actually, dili yun isod ang LMS. Pag inuha lang i-follow, tanan. Okay. So, yan. Yan. Group study. Then, may mga notes dyan kung how to, kung nalisdan mo saan pag-study, then you can have your study as a group. Pwede mo mag-zoom sa inyong mga classmate. Pwede mag-zoom ka classmate. Explain ko unsaon to o ka-gets. Pwede kayo ang group work. Okay, now, if you're done with this one, proceed tayo sa first module, volcanoes na. Yan. Another animation of volcanic eruption. So kanina, sabi ko kanina na there are active volcanoes in the Philippines. It is because Philippines is located along the Ring of Fire. Okay, so the Ring of Fire. So as a result, it is a home to many volcanoes. Katong mga mention ganina ninyo na Taal, Mayon, Pinatubo, Hibok-Hibok. Mount Apo, and everything. Those are only 4 volcanoes out of the, I think, hundreds of volcanoes found in the Philippines. Pero not all volcanoes found in the Philippines are active. Okay? So, according to PVOX, okay, anybody who would like to read the meaning of the acronym PVOX based on the screen, basahon lang ning naa sa screen diri. And you are going to memorize this one. Kasi part siya ng ating lesson. Okay? So, may I call in one participant to read the definition of the acronym. Can I ask Albiliar? Albiliar,
Yes
are
po,
you
ma'am.
there? Sige. What is PVOX, gang?
Asa ni ma'am?
Kani. The meaning of PVOX.
According to the Philippine Institute of Volcanology of Seismology, PVOX, our country's an ideal site. Wait.
Sige pa dayon.
Our country is an ideal site for any volcanic activity. It is therefore important for us to know how this natural phenomenon happens to reduce the rest and effects it may cause.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you. Now, since we have this agency, government agency in our country that studying about volcanoes, sila yung parang, for example, sa Taal Volcano, sila yung may alam kung gaano ka-intense ang possible disaster or danger na pwedeng mabigay ng Taal Volcano sa mga tao na nakapalibot sa Taal. So, PVOX, meaning to say, Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology. So you have to memorize the acronym. Okay, so let's continue. So in your course presentation, we only have 3 competencies. Okay, so you are going to describe the different types of volcanoes and volcanic eruption. You are going to explain what happens when volcanoes erupt. And you are going to illustrate how energy from volcanoes may be tapped for human use. Okay, so hindi lang lahat ng effect pag may pumutok na vulkan, pag may mag-erupt na volcano, not necessarily na puro negative ang effects. But there are also advantages and beneficial sa mga tao or sa environment na nakapaligid sa volcano once it will erupt. Okay, so again, as they say, or God, or everything happens for a reason. Okay, so God prepares this natural calamities for a reason. So there are also positive side. Okay. Now, in our course presentation, if you notice, there are 14 slides. So I know you are very familiar kasi pag nag-first quarter, ito na yung ating routine, di ba? Every lesson, every module, meron tayong course presentation. Now, let's continue with our second slide. Okay, so second slide, it's more on glossary of terms. So there are terms that might be new to you, na karon lang mo nakakitaan ng mga terms. So that's why we provided you something. So let's start with active volcano. So how you will know that Mount Apo is an active volcano? Okay, so sige. Active volcano. So this is, yan. May I request, colon, kindly read what is an active volcano?
A volcano that has erupted within the last 600 years and documented by man, or those are erupted 10,000 years ago based on analysis of datable materials.
Okay, very good. Now, pag sinabing active, bisan pag 100 years na siya nilabay, gikan nag-erupt, as long as naa siya record of eruption at least once, so it is considered as active volcano. Okay? Now, after this meeting, you have to research sa Google. Try nyo sa research sa Google, naabay recorded history ang Mount Apo. so that we can actually tell that Mount Apo is an active volcano. Okay, so yun. Now, let's continue with next. This is ash. Okay, this is an example of ash. And if you can define, this is a fragrance of rocks and fine grained lava. So every time that there will be volcanic eruption, automatically, of course, after that one, it will produce ash. Okay? Galing yan siya sa lava, sa formation of lava. Okay? So let's continue with this is also caldera. Caldera is like this. Familiar yung picture kasi it's para siyang Taal volcano. Okay, this is the volcanic crater that formed when a part of the wall of the crater collapses following an explosive eruption. So of course, dito siya sa crater lumalabas yung lava during volcanic eruption. After the volcanic eruption, maano siya, masyang mahugno, kumbaga sa Bisaya. And it will form like this. So ang tawag, it is a caldera. Okay? Next, we have the cinder cone. If you can notice, if you can search sa Google later, what are those different pictures of the volcanoes? You can observe na daghay, there are different designs of a volcano. Na ilahi na ay kalinis kaayo, na ay perfect shape, na ay perfect cone, na ay putot, na mubo, na ay medyo ana, na ay medyo ana-ana. Okay? Especially if it is an active volcano. Kasi after eruption, ma-change din ang shape. Okay? So just like this, there are also name of the volcanic shapes and designs. So you can also explore. So aside from that, you have cinder cone. Ang dagway cinder cone. Then we have this crater. Then we have the composite. Yan lang. O, diba? Tall and parang mataas yung peak niya. Then we also have this one, shield. Medyo putot na medyo may pagka-ano siya ng design. So ang tawag dyan na cone is shield cone. Then we also have silica. Ito yung content ng lava and magma during volcanic eruption. So, meron mga minerals na lalabas. And sometimes, pag yung mga places near an active volcano, for example, sa Pampanga, di ba, sa Lahar, after that, may mga minerals sila makukuha from the volcanic eruption that is good for the plants. Like, for example, hinuon nila fertilizer, hinuon nila pampatambok sa ilahang mga soil. So, meron silang mga content na minerals that is good also for the plants and soil, for agriculture. Yun. So, example na yan is the silica content. Then, we have the slope. Yan. The parts of the mountain. We have the summit. And also, we have this one, the viscosity. Gaano ba kalapot ang lava during volcanic eruption. So, isa din yun sa tinitingnan ng mga PHIVOLCS kung if masyadong malapot yung lava or viscous, meaning meron siyang effect sa volcanic eruption. So, it has something to do with the viscosity of the lava para makita nila nga, ay, ini siya, it's more viscous, destructive ni. Ay, kani less viscous, hindi siya masyadong damaging sa mga tao. Okay? So, yun yung isa sa mga factors for identifying if that volcanic eruption is very destructive. Okay? And the last one, we have volcano. Yeah, example. And yun siya. So, volcano is an opening in the Earth's surface where molten rocks, smoke, gases, and ashes are erupted. But for those inactive volcano, wala talagang record ng eruption. So, I think safe naman sila. Okay? So, yon. Now, let's continue with our third slide. Sa third slide, so alam niyo na pag merong ganito, you have to answer. So, In our slide 3, there are only 5, and we are going to answer it now so that you can know what is the correct answer para later, pa-perfect score niyo. Ma-perfect yung score unya. So, ang dili maka-perfect score ani unya, meaning wala na nimo sa kuha karon. Okay? So, let's start. What is a volcano? May I call in Quezon? Okay, Quezon. What do you think is the answer for number 1? Kindly read
Ano po?
muna the question. Read muna natin yung question.
What is a volcano? Akong answer po kay an opening in Earth's crust where magma erupts to the surface.
Okay, sige, very good. Let's check if that is the correct answer. Okay, this is your answer. Okay, very good. So take note that that is the correct answer for our quiz number 1. Okay, let's proceed to quiz number 2. May I request magbuto? Okay, Rhea. Rhea, kindly read the question. And what do you think is the correct answer?
Which of the following description describe a dormant volcano?
Okay, what is your answer? Dormant.
A volcano has not erupted in a long time but may erupt again.
Okay, let's see if that's the correct answer when you say dormant volcano. Okay, very good. Like for example, somehow our Mount Apo, they said it's dormant. It's because for the longest years, wala siya nag-erupt. But may possibility na mag-erupt siya. So those volcanoes are called dormant volcanoes. Okay, very good. Now let's have Christian Pitalcorin, kindly answer. Read the question. And what do you think is the answer?
What type of volcanoes are formed over many years and can grow to mountains of over 8,000 feet tall? Composite
Kadali lang ha.
volcano.
Mamalihog ko siguro. Pakimute ko. Gems, pakimute ko, Gems. Okay, thank you. Okay, Christian, again, what is the answer for your question?
Composite volcano, ma'am.
Composite volcanoes. Okay, let's see. What types of volcanoes are formed over many years and can grow mountains over 8,000 feet tall? So if you can imagine na masyado siyang mataas. Okay, so the answer of Christian is composite. Now let's see if that's the correct answer. Okay, very good. Okay, so composites like perfectly shaped and masyado siyang stiff or mataas. Okay, now proceed tayo. This is a quiz number 4. May I request Bernaldez? Bernaldez, kindly read the question and what is the answer?
What is the main outlet for magma to escape a volcano?
Okay.
Main vent po, ma'am.
Main vent. Okay, let's see if what is the main outlet for magma to escape a volcano during volcanic eruption? Asa siya moagi? Okay, so the answer is main vent, and let's see if that's the correct answer. Okay, very good. So, thank you for the participation. Now, let's continue with our quiz number 5. And may I request Quinones? Quinones, can you read the question and what is your answer?
What type of volcanoes can sometimes form inside another volcano? Shield volcanoes, ma'am.
Shield volcanoes is your answer. Okay, so kanina, pag we say composite, it's more on 8,000 feet tall. But what type of volcanoes can sometimes form inside another volcano? So the answer of Ewen is shield, and let's see if that's the correct answer. Oh, the answer is lava dome. So at least we know now. So if you're going to retry to get your score to be perfect, you can have the solution. So this is the volcano. Okay, the answer for number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Okay, so I will be expecting that you can get perfect score for this quiz. Okay, now for slide number 4, we will start our lesson with a video presentation. This is from Kapuso mo, Jessica Soho, kasi we will be focusing on the Philippines. Para at least, as Pinoy, for example, of course, we are Pinoy, we should identify what are those volcanoes found in our own country. Okay, so you are going to watch this video, and then right after watching the video, so here are some links. Okay, yung links dito is another video presentation. It will direct you to another YouTube channel. Then this one is the volcanoes of the Philippines. So i-explore nyo muna yan. Then this one provided na yung ating map. So if you can notice, active and potentially active volcanoes of the Philippines. So if you notice, yung legend, yung mga naka-red triangle dyan, those are active volcanoes. So imagine there are hundreds of active volcanoes found in the Philippines. Now, have you been to Lake Leonard? Somewhere in Muagi o so kung na-remember, paglaag na ko dito Muagi o Mabunturan, Palusot o Masara, Mako, or whatever. So if you've been to Lake Leonard, it is actually a lake of the active volcano Mount Leonard, one of the active volcanoes found in the Philippines. If you think, dool kayo sa atua, di ba? Kaya naara sa may Davao de Oro. So we will just pray na dili pa siya mo erupt. So, para dili kay siya disastrous for us na doon na dyan kayo sa Mount Leonard. Okay? So, if you're going to explore Philippines, there are active volcanoes found in the Philippines, especially in our Mindanao. Okay? So, yun. And then, you are going to answer the quiz. You're going to click that one, write true if the statement is correct, and false if it is wrong. Now, at this time, we will not answer this together. So I will leave you by yourself, answer this one, and all you have to do is to write your answer if it is true or false. These are 10 questions only. Okay? So yeah. And then slide number 5, another video presentation. So mga short videos lang to. Pag dili siya ma-play sa imuhang cellphone gani, na ay link dire ko nga link kani siya. Pag inyuhan ni siya i-link, i-click, it will direct you to YouTube site para mas madali ninyong ma-view. And then, if you're going to click this naman, this is the summary of the lesson from this slide. So you can get answers from this information. And then after that, pag ready na gani mo mag-answer, click the quiz and 5 items lang yung question. Okay? So again, kayo nang bahala mag-answer later and you will discover all about volcanoes. Next slide. This one, it is provided again. Topic, what is volcano? And you should open all the blue icons here to help you understand. Now, we will discuss this picture. In every volcano class, whether it is active or inactive, there are 3 parts of the volcano. What are the 3 parts? The 3 parts are the summit. Ito siya yung pinakatuktok ng bundok. And then we have the slope. Yung slope is etong gilid niya. Okay, kung nasa triangle siya, for example, yan siya. This is the summit, this is the slope, and yung ano niya is the base. Okay, so again, there are 3 parts of the volcano. We have summit, the slope, and the base. So yeah, you can review that by just clicking the pictures. So here, diba kanina we've mentioned a crater and a caldera. So sa crater, this is the crater and this is the caldera. Now, I will call another student to differentiate based on the picture. Differentiate crater and caldera. Okay? So may I request, can I have Binagalio? Okay, Cherry Binagalio, are you there? Now, Cherry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Cherry, based on the picture, what is the difference between a crater and a caldera? Sige, Cherry, kaya mo na. Ito yung crater, and this is the caldera. So, what are your observations? Anong kaibahan nilang dalawa? Meron bang gusto mag-help kay Cherry? Nawala si Cherry. Anyone who would like to raise the hand and answer, what is the difference between a crater and a caldera? Sige daw. Walang mag-answer. Sige, manawag na po ko. Kita ka move on, Ron. Okay, can I have Christopher Kaligonan? Okay, Christopher. Hello, Christopher. Are you there?
No, ma'am.
Hi, hello, gang. Now, I will ask you, what is the difference between a crater and caldera based on the picture?
Ang kaldera, ma'am, kay dako siya nga lingin, ma'am, niya. Ang crater, ma'am, kay gamay. Murag
Gamay?
ang kaldera, ma'am, nabungkag.
Okay, medyo siya bungkag and wide ang caldera. Okay, based on observation. Very
ma'am.
good naman. Kasi if you notice, yung caldera, it's more on wide part and then merong water, right? But for the crater, nasa taas pa siya. Mataas yung summit niya na part and then wala siyang water. So that is basically based on your observation, based from the picture, the difference between a crater and caldera. Okay, so thank you for the participation. Now, let's have the quiz. Ang quiz nito, napada isa ka picture. So sa isa ka picture, these are the parts of the volcano sa internal parts of the volcano, meaning sa sulod sa volcanoes. Okay, so we have during volcanic eruption, this is the ash part. This is the side vent. Side vent yung lusutanan niya sa kilid. And then main vent, ito niya sa center. Then these are the layers. Ito yung lava. Once the lava will come out, that's the time it will erupt. Okay? So this is the magma chamber. Yung magma paglalabas, yun, and that's how we call it as lava. So yung magma nasa loob, paglabas, and that is now lava. And then since yung magma gusto nang mag-erupt, most of the time, dun siya sa mga gilid-gilid ng volcano, yung sa slope na part sa volcano siya lalabas. So ang tawag doon, kung saan sila lumabas sa gilid, this is the side vent. Basically, dapat dun talaga sa main vent. Pero again, pag masyado nang mainit, masyado nang o kailangan na siyang lumabas, then it will move through the side vent. Okay? So these are the parts of the internal parts of the volcano during volcanic eruption. Okay, now after watching the video, after discovering these icons, you are going to answer the question. So sa quiz, there are 5 items only. So you're going to drag this. Click lang na siya, i-drag lang na siya. Kayo nang bahala if what is the correct answer for each item. And then submit your score. And then for slide number 7, another video presentation, the same routine. Watch the video, explore the different pictures, and then do not forget to answer the questions. Again, 5 items lang din na siya para dali. Now, if you notice, we have the terms stratovolcanoes, phreatic, Plinian, shield volcanoes, and strombolian. Now, let's take, for example, phreatic. When we say phreatic, it is one of the types of volcanic eruption. Okay, so hindi pala pwede na isa lang kabuok ang type of eruption. Like for example, sa Taal. Since Taal volcano is in contact with water, di ba nakapaligid yung Taal, meron siyang crater, meron siyang water. Meron ding Mount Pinatubo na wala siya'y water sa dool. So there are types of volcanic eruption. If that particular volcano is near the bodies of water or not near or far from the bodies of water. So just like phreatic, phreatomagmatic, hydrothermal eruption. So those are the terms. So you have to explore that and answer the questions on slide 7. Okay, now so slide number 8 naman class, you have here another video presentation. So simple ra jud kayo ni. Kung imuha lang tanawon ang mga videos provided, you can easily answer the quizzes. So there are also another video presentation that will give you more information. Then for quiz, 5 items can be hapon. So diba, true or false ra jud siya. Okay, and then slide number 9. This time for slide number 9, you are going to answer matching type. Okay, so identify the different figures of the volcanic figure. Write only the letter on the space provided. So for example, number 1, ash cloud. From the description, there is a kilid A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Write only the letter of the definition of the ash cloud. Okay, and then check. And you have score. Now this time, another quiz will be given for you to answer, and then meron kayong pictures dito. These are the different shapes of the volcanoes. We have composite, we have cinder cone, and we have shield volcanoes. And answer the given question. You are going to identify. So, ang choices dire are composite, cinder cone, or shield volcanoes na ang answer ninyo sa 1 to 5. 1 to 10 pala, sorry. And then for slide number 11, yan. In every part or in every location in our region, kung meron mga volcano or active volcanoes, there are also geothermal power plants. Okay? So, like for example, electricity sources. So, since merong active volcano in that particular region, therefore, the sources of their energy or electricity is from geothermal power plant. Now, that's the reason why we included a quiz on the geothermal power plant. Just study the figure, okay, and then answer the question. Now, let's proceed to the slide number 12. Slide number 12 are the summary of our lessons sa volcanoes, as well as slide 13. So slide 13 naman is the last slide for our module 1, and this are the questions as post-test. Okay, so you are going to answer this. I think there are only 8 items for this one, the last quiz for volcanoes. And the summary, you have 70 items, total items for our module 1 volcanoes. Okay, so make sure na ma-answeran yun ni panang slides na may quizzes so that you can have a score out of 70 items. Okay, so after that, if you're done with the quiz, then you can proceed immediately to the let's practice more sa ating volcano na module 1. Okay, now before we proceed to the next part, Are there any questions regarding volcanoes? Let's stop the sharing. Okay. If klaro sa inyo ha ang atong module 1, so kindly raise your hand. If klaro, raise your hand. Pag walang question, raise your hand. Sige daw, may I see your hand? Okay, thank you. Very good. Majority of you raised your hand. That means na it's clear, the instructions were clear, the discussions were clear. Okay, very good. Can you lower now the hands? So again, right after our first online meeting, you can now proceed to your LMS. And the target for today is you should finish Module 1, Volcanoes. Okay? Because I will be checking and updating. Gagawa tayo ng deadline every Module 1. Or every module para wala dyan malate sa ato. Now, let's share now again my screen. Balik tayo dun sa LMS para tapos na tayo agad. Okay, so let's practice more. If you're done with module 1 na course presentation, manamag 3 sa 70 items, this one you are going to submit. Okay. Module 1, let's practice more. Global volcanics, Google Earth, and concept mapping ang gagawin natin. So just follow the course presentation. Slide number 2 is the instruction. Okay, now, the goal of this activity is to reinforce the students' understanding of where volcanoes are located around the globe. By using Google Earth, students will be able to travel to different volcanoes and compare volcano type to specific plate tectonic boundaries. They will learn that certain types of volcanoes are generally found at certain types of plate boundaries. Students will also learn how to use Google Earth and how the tool can be used for scientific investigation. Okay, now, kindly raise your hand if you are familiar with Google Earth. Anybody here is familiar with Google Earth? Siguros Mendez, Cadorna Alvillar. So sila lang ang ang familiar sa Google Earth. Okay, magbuto. So hopefully, kung meron kayong Android phone, ang nakalagay dito most of the time is the Google Map. Di ba, pag maglaag ka, you can use your GPS, you can use your Google Map to check kung asa mo mangagi. But for the Google Earth, you can actually use Google Earth. For example, mangita mo at mo Tagaytay. Pag ibutang nyo ito Tagaytay, tapos tourist attraction. Makita nyo dito, ma-zoom in ninyo, makita nyo mga balay-balay, ang mga parks, ang mga tourist spots, in a particular location. That is the role or the function of the Google Earth. So, katong mga dili familiar sa Google Earth, now this is your chance to explore Google Earth. Because whether you like it or not, you are going to use Google Earth for our Module 1. Now, pag wala Google Earth, you can download that sa App Store. Okay, Google Earth. Now, by the way, let's continue muna sa slide number 3. So slide number 3, following the introduction to Google Earth, students will travel to the various volcanoes listed in the activity table, Global Volcanic Table, and will record notes about each volcano's location, type, and the type of plate boundary. Okay, so if you can see here, merong icon na tap here. We will open this picture. Yan siya. Ito yung assignment ninyo for Module 1. So you will answer here. You will discover what are the top 5 volcanoes found in the Philippines. And then sa Google Earth picture captures, screenshot ninyo ang Google Earth kung asa dito nakitaan. Like for example, Mount Apo. Pagsulat nyo dira Mount Apo ninyo, picturean ninyo ang Mount Apo sa Google Earth, then paste the picture here. You can use Microsoft Word in answering this one. So, pwede nyo siya i-encode. Sundugo ninyo nga format. And then, during sa inyong activity, screenshot and then ibutang sa ibutang sa kanina column. And then get the latitude, the longitude, the elevation of the crater, shield ba na siya or stratovolcano, plate boundary ba or hotspot, and what type of plate boundary. Now, do not worry kung asan niyo pang taon ang mga information or answers because it will be found on our next instruction. Okay, next. So you have here a video presentation on how you will locate how will you locate volcanoes using Google Earth. Now, pag naka-desktop mo, kung naka-computer desktop or naka-laptop mo, in-anin siya. So, let's watch muna the tutorial. So, first, you are going to search Taal Volcano. Yan, isulat Taal Volcano. And then, of course, Tagaytay mo siya, no? Automatically, diretso na ang inyong screen dito sa Taal Volcano. Yan. And if you can see sa gilid, meron siyang description. What is Taal Volcano? Saan siya nakalocate? Yan. Sa places, for example, proceed tayo sa Lake Leonard. Yung na-mention ko kanina na doon na kayo sa Atua. Okay? So, Lake Leonard. Yan. Mindanao kaayo ang Lake Leonard. Yan siya. Yan. And then, if you notice sa kilid, na-adyo picture sa Lake Leonard. Yan. Search na. Bisa kung sa yung i-search sa Google Earth, pwede kaayo. Okay? So, the first thing that you're going to do is, mo sa Google. Mangutana mo dito sa Google, what are the top 5 volcanoes in the Philippines? Now, if you have top 5 volcanoes sa listahan ninyo, then that's the time you are going to go to the Google Earth and then search. Okay, for the information. Okay, so stop ko muna to. You can review that one. And then sa link dire, may link dito sa Google Earth. So if you're using laptop or desktop, pag i-click niyo yung Google Earth, kani siya ang magawa. Yan. But for the cell phone or Android, mag-download na kayo ng app. So the same instruction gihapon sa Google Earth na using cell phone. Okay? So ito siya, Google Earth. So ito dapat lalabas sa Google Earth sa desktop o laptop. And even sa cellphone. Ano gihapon ang dagway. So anak siya. Now, so it will take time. Inuwa sa yung kasagdan na maklaro ang inyong screen. Now, pagitaon daw nato. Let's search, for example, Tagum City National High School. Pagitaon nato. If you can see here, dara, school in Tagum. Ayun, tuara ra gyud ang atong City High. Pwede po ninyo siya ma-zoom using this one. Kaya na ay plus ug na ay siya na ay plus ug minus sa baba. If you notice, pag i-click mo ang plus, pwede siya na-zoom. Yan. So, yan siya. Ito yung school gate natin. Nandito ako ngayon. Dito na part sa Science Faculty Room. Yan. Nandito ako. Diyan, banda. Okay. Now, since our topic is more on volcanoes in the Philippines, so, like, for example, Mount Apo. Okay, tao na to ang Mount Apo, ha? Ato pag Mount Apo. So, since we cannot go there physically, di ka kasaka dito karon. So, yun. Take note, may mga kanisya. Like, di ba, kaganina, you are going to write unsa na type ang particular volcano. So, Mount Apo, nakabutang diri, is a stratovolcano in the Philippines. So, you now have the answer. For more information, you're going to click this one. Now, for the latitude, dari makikita sa ilalom. Kani o? Kaning. Sige, check na to ang Mount Apo, ha? Yan, pag i-double click mo na siya, kita niyo na dira Mount Apo, taas kaayo. Yan, that's the Mount Apo. Okay, now, I will annotate. Kani siya class, sa baba sa screen, naadiri ang latitude and longitude. Siya. Ito siya. Okay? 6 degrees north and 125 degrees east. So, yan siya. Okay? So, this is very exciting and hopefully ma-enjoy mo to explore. Anyway, 5 lang ka volcanoes inyong i-Google Earth. Now, pag makita na ganito, for example, Mount Apo, screenshot ba yun ninyo to? Wait lang ha. Ako ko. Mayon Volcano. Nakita na kung saan ninyo pag-screenshot. Saan Mayon Volcano? Yan. Mayon Volcano is a stratovolcano in the Philippines. Yun, ano mo answer sa katong na column. Stratovolcano siya. Tapos, active stratovolcano siya. Kani siya sa Mount Volcano, mo na siya yung screenshot. Screenshot ninyo din na part. Meaning, nakita ninyo sa Google Earth. And then also, get the latitude and longitude. Yan, nandyan yan lahat. Yan siya. Okay. Distance of the area. Dira, makita ko na siya diha. Okay. Yan. So, you need to explore ng the Google Earth. Okay? And get the needed data para ma-answeran ninyo ang assignment sa Module 1. Okay, i-close na nato ang Google Earth, ha? Okay. And then, for the next slide, okay. Accomplish the concept map by writing the words you associate with the word volcano. So, if you're going to click this one, yan siya. So, pwede nyo siya i-screenshot and then edit para makasulat mo ang answer dire. Okay. And answer. And then, for the Google link, muna siya ang ato ang worksheet. So, sa concept mapping worksheet, you're going to click this para ma-download sa inyong cellphone or sa inyong laptop or computer, then you will answer also. Okay? Now, to answer, you are going to submit, ano siya, i-submit ninyo ni ang inyong answer either picture or naka-word document. Okay? So, yun lang. So far, ang assignment sa volcano. Now, this is our agreement. I will stop the sharing. Since, balik tayo sa PowerPoint presentation kanina. Balik tayo sa presentation. Okay. So, we are done with the introduction to the quarter 3 modules. Yung deadline naman natin, okay, deadline for module 1, volcanoes, answer 70 item quiz. The deadline will be on Feb 8, ugma. So, dapat today, hantod ugma, 4 p.m., dapat maka-answer na mo sa 70 item na quiz sa volcanoes. So, if ever, moingon mo nga, ay ma'am, nahumanan ako ma'am. Karong udto, mahumanan ako ron ma'am. Pwede na ba kung nga mo answer sa module 2? Pwede kaayo. Since you have your own time, kamu na ang bahala sa inyong oras. Basta, maghatag ko og deadline na mag-check ko sa inyong module 1 answer until ugma 4 p.m. Okay? And then, sa katong let's practice more, katong Google Earth ninyo na assignment of concept map is also until Feb 8, 4 p.m. Okay? So, I will not introduce muna Module 2, para dili mo magbibog kay taas na kaayo. So, meaning to say, ang inyong i-focus lang sa gudron sa inyong utok is the module 1. So, right after this session, proceed to the LMS, answeran ninyo tanang mga questions sa quizzes for 70 items, and then, hinahinayan na ninyo og answer ang inyong assignment using the Google Earth. Okay, so that is our agreement for today's session. Are there any questions, clarification? Sige, the time now is 10:29. We will end this meeting by 10:30, hopefully. Are there any questions regarding your lesson 1? If there are no more questions, raise your hand. Okay, so I think this is now clear. Now kindly open your camera, everyone, for the last documentation and for the last attendance. Okay, na ay mga nisulod kanina nga wala natin sa picture. And this is recorded. I-upload na ko ni siya sa YouTube channel. And then I will just get the link, copy the link, and isend ako sa inyong group chat so that other students na absent today, we will be watching and reviewing our lesson for the first online class. But again, rest assured that your attendance is properly recorded and I will give you extra points for your attendance. Okay, again. So we have Pitalcorin, Siguros, Prado, Duklan, Albiliar, Paglumutan, Colon, Cadorna, Mendez, Visorio, Caligunan, Binagalio, Quezon, Antonio, Quiñones, Magutong, and Bernaldez. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, so thank you everyone for attending our first online class. I will just send the schedule for our second online class probably by Thursday this week or by Wednesday. Basta mag-update lang ulit. So please be online anytime. Okay, so let's end our meeting with a closing prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord Jesus,